OK program, you mentioned the OK program. You know, how often do you meet with Flip? You know, I talk to Eric Liddell every Friday. We have a breakfast with the mayor on his show, and I know they're a little frustrated with the program. I don't know how often you talk to him about the program. Norcross is disillusioned with it because it doesn't appear that it's getting the support that it needs. Now, I don't know what's going on, but I know Phil's been wanting because he wants to haul the guys around. I know we got some liability exposure and that type of thing, but I know when I talk to them, I know we're under budget constraints, but I don't know. How often do you talk to Phil?
Probably once every other week, something like that. Okay. His deal is, talking to him, is you have all these leaders that are supposedly going to step up, and his words to me is that they're all talk. None of them have done anything. They talk a good game, but when it comes down to playing ball, no one's done anything. And matter of fact, the money I put out of my budget, and they're still waiting on their money from the Civic Center for the rodeo that those kids were guaranteed $1,000. And the other day he got a call and asked him would he settle for $700. I mean, those kids went out there with the impression that they were going to be able to work and help out, and they were going to get $1,000 for the OK program, and they still haven't received anything.
I talked to them today. They haven't settled that because all of the sponsors haven't gotten money yet. The people that they're about. I talked to them about that today. They're about $7,000 short. People that haven't made the sponsorship.
Right.
So and then they had to go directly into the catastrophe right out of that. So,
right.
So anyway, they asked me if I wanted them to go ahead and sell, go ahead and try to get the sponsorship in. I told them to go ahead and get the sponsorship in, so they can go ahead instead of having to come back,
right.
And do something.
I mean, the OK program, the only people that's stepping up is the Monroe Police Department. We're providing the personnel. We're allowing him to go to Minden for that program that some of the boys were in to be a mentor for them. And I mean, we're footing the majority of the bill is the way I'm seeing it right now. And the city's a part of it, but this far in the ball game, there should be some other business people or somebody that's stepped up and helped generate some funds for the program. The way Norcross was talking that happened out in Sacramento, which we're comparing apples and oranges almost with the two different cities. You're talking about a major metropolitan area, and Monroe's got limited resources. No professional football team, not the state's capital and that kind of stuff. So there are limitations, and concerns me is I'm afraid that Larry Wilson's going to get disillusioned with the thing and pretty much throw his hands up in the air because I don't have the money to go out and try to get an 18-passenger van. Now, when we do the budget amendments on the savings from the retirement system, if I can find something to get a van, may go ahead and do that. But then again, we're going to have to look at if he's hauling 15 high school kids around and a major accident happens, the city's going to be exposed to that liability. And, you're talking about traveling from here to Minden or traveling to Alexandria or wherever places they go, or traveling to, Freeport or wherever the Saints may play as a recreation for the boys.
Well, I just, with Norcross, it is different. The one in Indianapolis is, it's taking off. But the thing with anything is, it's nothing new. People do it all the time. And whereas, I do have concerns about liability and exposure. But my thing is to have a checklist of, okay, this is what's needed. This is what we can do. This is what we can't do. So if it's something that we can't do, at this time, well, we can't do it, but we can do this. Because the whole idea of what we set out to talk about trying to do, address the high incarceration rate of African American males. But I think that, I don't know what type of leader Flip is. I know what type of person he is, just my observation. But, when he's got a program that he's working on his own, such as this, that you know more about, what he's capable of doing, and it takes a leader. What made Norcross successful was that, Norcross is, he's got a good rapport with folks, and, as far as the organization skills and all of that, I don't know about all of that, but I know that he commanded attention and was able to get people to support, his program. I think that, whenever I have a chance to go out and help them, sometimes they have barbecues. I go out and support them by plates, or go out, I talk about it on the radio show sometimes, but, I do what I can from this standpoint. But, as the department head, it's incumbent upon you, to be a leader and trying to help him figure out, well, first of all, develop him where he's a stronger leader and he's able to get out and do things that's got to be done, for the program. It's apples and oranges, but everything is relative. So we can't do every single thing that they do there, but there are some things that we can do, and then when we do them, it can't just be okay, we've done it, we'll go to the next thing. You got to get some exposure, get the media out, pictures need to be taken, put pictures in the Dispatch or the Free Press where people can know, what to do. Now, I don't know if he's aware of all of that, but, you just can't just say, well, like I hear Eric Waddell, he said, well, we need some more money, now he pushes it on the radio, he talks about it on the radio, but also people need to see pictures, group shots, where they'll know, about the OK program, and at this point, I don't think that, in fact, I know it's not a household name where people know, what's going on. So then it becomes, what do we do? What do we do to change it? So we got a lot of important things within the police department, but that is very, very important. Very important to me, for public relations purposes, as well as trying to improve the incarceration rate. But we're just going to have to roll our sleeves up, and see what we need to do to inject some life. But it starts, like I say, it starts with my commitment to the program, yourself, type of assistance that Flip gets in terms of development and that kind of stuff.
Well, he's all the time coming and asking for a vehicle, or when can we get a vehicle? And because a lot of times he's using his personal vehicle because he don't want to use the vehicle he's got. And until I have some money that I can do some things like that and replace some vehicles, that's difficult. And I think he does a good job managing the program. I don't think that's an issue. I think it is. The main thing is on Saturdays during the kick it sessions, how is he going to feed those kids, or how is he going to get them from Monroe to T.L. James campground, or how the whole thing comes down to finance. And legally, I don't know how much money the city can put into the program. That's not the way it's set up. It's supposed to be self-sustaining, and it hasn't been around long enough to be self-sufficient, but it ought to have some revenue sources now by some of the mentors and some of the team leaders and things such as that, and you know, that's just not happening. A lot of the people that are saying they're going to do stuff never do what they tell Flip they're going to do.
Well, you know, well, I understand that, but, you know, Flip is an adult, and everybody's not going to tell him yes. Everybody's not going to contribute. Everybody's not going to show up when they're supposed to. But it's incumbent upon him to keep pushing. The commitment's been made. We've made the commitment by paying his salary to do just that. Plus, whatever money has been set aside for the budget. Understanding that things have been a little tight right now. So he has to maintain a mindset. I mean, after all, this is his job, you know, to do that. Surely he needs tools to be able to do it, but his frustration with a lack of commitment from some people that he's talked to, he has to keep looking for people who can, you know, can be counted on. And it's not that we need a ton of folks out there. Yeah, he needs support. You know, I can't be there Saturday, and you know, there's always something going on. I don't expect for you to be there every Saturday, just like I don't expect for you to be, you know, at an event every single day. But my expectations are that there's visibility, you know, where you know, support is visible and obvious. So we just have to keep plugging it and, you know, having some measurements in place to see where we are. You know, if all I have to go on is what I hear, you know, if all I have to go on is well, we're running out of money, we need a vehicle, you know, and, you know, Norcross feeling, you know, maybe measuring, you know, feeling that, well, it's not performing up to par compared to somewhere else, which again, Indianapolis is much larger, just like Sacramento, you know. So, I mean, I don't get really caught up in that because I know it's just a total different thing. What I think about is the basic structure and, you know, what's the outcome of what we've done, so I can be able to measure it. And so those are things that I'd like to see, you know, some type of report. I don't know if you require him to give you reports, but he needs to be reporting something where something that you can measure. Because if he's just saying we need this, we need that, you just don't know.
Well, I mean, he hadn't been providing any type of formal report, and he's been verbally reporting to me about the kids. And like this summer, when the kids were out of school, had parents calling him wanting to know, you know, what was he going to do, because, you know, they didn't want their child out here running around on the streets and not having something structured.